Hello everyone, my name is Angela and I'm doing a campaign awareness event on pediatric brain cancer. So this video is essentially just going to be a presentation about how we can reduce the incidence of cancer, the various symptoms, and pediatric brain cancer in general. So just starting out, um, first, we're going to do a cancer overview. So, what is cancer? Cancer is marked by uncontrollable cell division. So, essentially, cell cycle regulators and tumor suppressor genes have gone awry, generally due to mutations, and the growth doesn't stop. Like the cells, they don't really need to attach to a medium to continue dividing, and they just don't stop. And this means that they can spread all throughout the body, and this is called metastasizing. So, metastasis is the process of cancer cells moving all throughout the body, and cancer can be deadly because the tumors will stop essential organ function. So, more about cancer. The progression of cancer is marked in four stages. So, first stage one is where it's small and localized just in a regional area. And stage two is where it's grown larger and spread into a nearby localized area. So, this could be nearby tissues. And stage three is where the tumor has grown even larger. It's spread to lymph nodes, tissues, and other local organs. So, for example, if there was cancerous growth on the colon and later on, we find out that the cancer has also moved to the small intestine. Stage 4 cancer would be where cancer would spread from original sites to whole other parts of the body. So, for example, large intestine to the brain. So, the general trend about cancers has been pretty positive in terms of survival rates. They've gone up recently with the advancement of modern technology and other healthcare and research, just other research techniques. And unfortunately, the survival rate for pediatric brain cancers have remained pretty consistent over the last 30 years. Some of the survival rates have increased, but others have remained pretty low. For example, glioblastoma is a type of brain cancer, and they have a 5-year survival rate as low as 20%. So that means that 5 years after the initial diagnosis of glioblastoma, only 1 in 5 people will survive. And now brain cancer basics. So there are a lot of different types of brain tumors in children, but they're categorized in four groups. So primary, starting in the brain; metastatic, where they start in other parts of the body and they move to the brain; slow growing, where, well, these aren't cancers, but they're a type of brain tumor where essentially the cells, they continuously divide. They are unregulated, but they don't spread to other parts of the body and they're not really dangerous. So they can be difficult to treat, but they're not as difficult to treat as cancer cells because they aren't as aggressive. Now, malignant tumors are cancerous. So, unlike benign tumors that are generally contained in an area, they can be very aggressive and spread very quickly to all other parts of the body. Benign tumors can eventually become cancerous, but they're not as big of a concern as already cancerous cells. Okay, this is just a summary slide of the four different grades of brain tumors. You can pause the video and look over it if you'd like to. And then now on to types of pediatric brain cancer. So the most common brain cancers in children are gliomas. So this is where the tumor is growing in the brain with the normal brain tissue. So they form from abnormal glial cells, which are essentially cells that support neurons. So an example would be astrocytes. So astrocytoma is a type of glioma, and it's a type of brain cancer. It's the most common form of glioma, and um, they're found in astrocytes, which are cells that are responsible for regulating the electrical impulses of the brain. And glioblastoma, as we talked about earlier, is an example of an astrocytoma. Oligodendrogliomas are malfunctions in oligodendrocytes that insulate nerve cells. And then meningiomas are tumors that grow in the meninges, and they're the most common type of tumor on the head. So they have a 5-year survival rate of around 70%. So that's a lot higher than some other cancers, some other brain cancers, but um, it's still pretty low in terms of survival rates. So that's something that we need to do in terms of like pooling resources towards advancement of cancer research and finding more treatment methods that would have a higher success rate. And then metastatic brain cancers are cancers that start in another part of the body and then they shift to the brain. So this is also just called stage 4 cancer. The highest survival rate is 30%. So this is incredibly low. Once it gets to stage 4, it's very, very tough to stop. Medulloblastoma is the most common type of pituitary brain cancer in children. It arises in the cerebellum, which is just right here. This area is responsible for balance. And medulloblastoma causes hydrocephalus. So that essentially means like a buildup of fluid in the brain. And this is due to like a lack of circulation that could be caused by the tumor. And their survival rate is also around 70%. So a lot of people have survived medulloblastoma, but at the same time, we can work on improving this survival rate. Now onto the symptoms that are pretty common for pediatric brain cancer. Um, a lot of people will experience headaches. So this is because the skull doesn't have enough space for the growth of tumors. So this will cause a lot of intracranial pressure. So just in this area, the brain and the head, you'll feel a lot of pressure. In young children, you'll see abnormal expansion or growth of the head because their their plates haven't fully fused yet. And then, of course, there are a lot more serious symptoms, for example, like seizures, weakness and paralysis. But you should also take the common, like the smaller and more mild symptoms seriously. For example, some headaches people might just shrug off, irritability, lethargy and drowsiness. Um, but the symptoms really just depend on what area of the brain is affected most by the cancer. And now on to treatments. So there are several different types of treatments for brain cancer, but generally they're quite similar to other types of cancer. So this could be chemotherapy, just drug treatments, drugs and poisons that target quickly dividing cells, as well as radiation therapy. They're just beams of like radiation, intense energy to kill off cells, and surgery, removal of tumors. So in chemotherapy, there are a lot of different purposes. So, for example, if someone was going into surgery, they might want to use chemotherapy in order to really drive back the cancer and to reduce the size of the tumor, or just that could be their main course of treatment to get rid of the cancer entirely. And chemotherapy, since it targets quickly dividing cells, a lot of healthy human cells will be affected. For example, a lot of people who undergo chemotherapy, they'll experience extreme hair loss, and this is because hair is an example of a quickly dividing cell. And another example um, would be intestinal cells. So, what can you do to sort of reduce the incidence of cancer? The first thing you can do is to prioritize your own health. So, this means avoiding carcinogens, which are basically just factors that could cause cancer or increase your risk of cancer. So, an example of an environmental factor would be a lot of people have their cellular devices nearby, and avoid putting them in the bedroom or working in the bedroom because in the long term it's unhealthy to have radiation nearby when you sleep. Um, so that's something that a lot of doctors advise, just not putting like electronic or cellular devices in the bedroom. So iPads, computers, phones, just keep them away. Another one is just try to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So just like exercise, eat healthy, sleep a lot, and also just try to reduce like the incidence of stress in your life. So this could mean like making various lifestyle changes in order to reduce the stress and to generally like live a more healthy and happy life. This will strengthen your immune system and reduce your chance of getting sick as well. So this means that so some viruses will increase your chance of getting specific types of cancer. So increasing your the power of your immune system and immune system health will really help you reduce the incidence of cancer. So just try to maintain that healthy lifestyle and make various changes in your life. So in terms of spreading awareness, it's a lot easier to halt cancer in its earlier stages. So in stage 1 or stage 2, where it really hasn't spread that much, because then you can target radiation or just surgery in a specific area, and you don't have to operate in multiple parts of the body. It's much easier just to catch it in, just to really try to treat it once you catch it in earlier stages. So it's important that you guys get your symptoms, if you ever have any symptoms or illness, checked. Get them checked as soon as possible so that in case it's a really serious disease like pediatric brain cancer, you could get it more easily removed and also have an increased chance of survival. So don't ignore the milder symptoms, and if your child is feeling any of these symptoms, take them to the doctor immediately. So now I'm hosting a raffle. You could donate like however much you want to, but here there are various different tiers for donations. So you can take a look at some of the prizes that I'll be handing out here. Um, Everyone who donates will be getting a gold and a silver ribbon. So a gold ribbon essentially represents childhood cancers, and a silver ribbon represents um, brain cancer. So wearing them together is essentially just a symbol of pediatric brain cancer. These are also various prizes that you could win if you participate in the raffle. And then now, just another incentive to donate, I will do 2 push-ups for every dollar you guys donate to a link that a QR code that I'll be showing in the next slide. I'll also do a push-up for every like and subscription you guys give to this video and to this channel so that we can push this video and get more people to see it and to learn more about pediatric brain cancer. So here's the QR code for the donation page. Please donate. Anything you can would be really greatly appreciated. Um, thank you guys so much for listening to my presentation. Please support it by liking or subscribing. Yeah, thank you so much.